Hello, good evening, children. Today we deals with the second chapter, that is respiration, the energy releasing system. And in this chapter, we discuss about the key points. First one is stages of respiration or events in the respiration. Here we have 5 events: breathing, gaseous exchange at the lungs level, gas transport by blood, gaseous exchange at tissue level, and cellular respiration. First, breathing. Breathing. You all know about breathing. We take air and we give out the air. That is called breathing. And when we breathe the air, that air reaches the lungs, and in the lungs, gaseous exchange takes place between the lungs and blood, and from there blood transports the gases to the different body parts. This is the third step. And next, the blood which carries the oxygen to the body parts, at the tissue level, oxygen is given to the tissues and carbon dioxide is taken up by the blood. And finally, in the cellular respiration takes place. That means breakdown of food in presence of oxygen, that is called cellular respiration, it takes place. The next one, this is a simple experiment. Here actually it is a demonstration of respiratory gases. When we perform this experiment, when we blow air into the pipe, here lime water is there, and this lime water changes into milky white. It indicates the presence of carbon dioxide gas. That means our exhaled air contains carbon dioxide gas. And here we have human respiratory system. In the human respiratory system, we have different parts: nostrils, nasal cavity, and pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, and bronchioles. And finally, number of small sac-like structures. These structures are present in the lungs. Millions of alveoli are present in the lungs, and these alveoli are called structural and functional unit of lungs. And here we observe the lungs. We have two lungs, and left one is slightly smaller, and these lungs are surrounded by two layers. They are called pleura. In between the two layers, liquid is there, that is called that protects lungs from shocks. The next one is, this diagram is also important. Next one is this one, pathway of air or passage of air. First, the air enters into the nostrils. From nostrils, the air enters into the nasal cavity. We have two nasal cavities. In the nasal cavities are surrounded by mucous membrane. It is always wet, and this nasal cavity, it also possesses hairs. These hairs and mucous membrane, they stops the entry of dust particles into the lungs, and it also provides wetness to the air. And from here the air passes into the pharynx. Pharynx is called, it's a junction of food and air passage. From pharynx the air enters into the larynx. It's also called sound box or vocal box. Here vocal cords are there. That means vocal cords produce sounds. From here the air enters into the trachea. Trachea is also called windpipe. And from here the air enters into the bronchus. Trachea divides into two bronchus, and each bronchus divides into small branches. They are called bronchioles, and each bronchiole ends in small sac-like structures called alveolus. Number of alveolus are present in the lungs. These are called structural and functional unit of lungs. And from alveolus, the oxygen enters into the blood. This is the pathway of air. And same, the reverse happen in case of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide from blood enters into the alveolus, from alveolus to bronchioles, bronchioles to bronchus, bronchus to trachea, and trachea to lungs, larynx to pharynx, pharynx to nasal cavity, nasal cavity to nostrils. Same order. The next one is this one, role of epiglottis in the entry of air and entry of food. Here we have this one. This portion is called This one is called epiglottis. In Telugu it is called Kondanaluka. This portion. Here epiglottis, it is allowing air to enter into the trachea or windpipe, and here epiglottis is closed. It is allowing food to enter into the esophagus. So this epiglottis, it controls the entry of food and controls the entry of gas into the respective passages. And here we have a diagram, and this here we have two lungs, and here a structure is there. This is called diaphragm. This diaphragm, it controls the inhalation and exhalation, that means breathing. When this diaphragm, it is of different nature. Sometimes it gets flattened like this. When diaphragm gets flattened, the size of the lungs increases, then the pressure in the lungs decreases, then the outside air comes into the lungs. After that, when the diaphragm, it reaches its original shape, like dome shape, then the size of the lungs decreases and the air in the lungs, it sent out. Like that, inhalation and exhalation takes place. This diaphragm plays an important role in inhalation and exhalation of air. Here we have ribs. These ribs, they are also play a key role in the inhalation and exhalation. This diaphragm and ribs, these two play a key role in the inhalation and exhalation process. Generally, diaphragm plays an important role in males, and ribs plays a key role in females. The next one is, this is the alveoli. Structural and functional unit of lungs. Number of alveoli present in the lungs. Here, this is alveoli. Alveoli is surrounded by small blood vessels. Each alveoli is surrounded by small, simple blood vessels. Here, air comes into the alveoli. This air contains oxygen. Oxygen present in the alveoli, it diffuses into the blood. Similarly, carbon dioxide present in the blood, it diffuses into the alveoli. Like this, gaseous exchange takes place in the alveoli. This diagram represents gaseous exchange in the lungs. Next, when blood takes oxygen, blood contains hemoglobin. This hemoglobin takes oxygen and forms oxyhemoglobin. When oxygen combines with hemoglobin, oxyhemoglobin is formed. And this oxyhemoglobin, it goes to the different body parts. When it reaches the body parts, when it reaches the tissues, different parts of our body, then hemoglobin and oxygen divide, and this oxygen is taken up by the tissue. And this carbon dioxide, it again takes carbon dioxide, and that carbon dioxide, it brings back to the lungs. Here a picture is there. Here trekking is going on, a mountaineer. When we go up from sea level, their concentration of oxygen becomes very low. At that point oxygen levels are low, so all the hemoglobins in our blood, they may not get oxygen. So at high altitudes, we feel difficult in breathing. That is the reason. Now, this is the definition of actual respiration. Most of us assume that respiration means nothing but breathing, but it is not correct. Respiration means, the definition of respiration is release of energy from food in living cells. That means we take oxygen, we breathe oxygen. That oxygen, first it reaches the lungs, and from lungs it goes to the body parts. In the body cells, in presence of oxygen, energy is released from food. This is called respiration. This respiration, it is mainly two types. One is called aerobic respiration, another one is called anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration means respiration in presence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration means respiration in the absence of oxygen. Here we have an organelle that is called mitochondria. It is present in every cell of our body. This mitochondria, it plays an important role in respiration. Major part of respiration takes place in mitochondria. If we observe the mitochondria, it has two layers. The outer membrane is it's plain, and inner membrane, if we observe the inner membrane, it is folded. These foldings are called cristae, and inside the inner membrane there is cytoplasm that is called matrix. This is the structure of mitochondria. It is an important organelle in cell respiration. This is also called energy currency. This is called powerhouse of the cell, because it produces energy is released in this organelle itself by the process called respiration. So it's called powerhouse of the cell. Here we have flowchart of respiration. First, in respiration, here glucose is there. Glucose means food. Glucose first converted into pyruvate. Actually, glucose contains 6 carbons. This 6 carbon glucose converted into or split into 3 carbon pyruvate. Pyruvate contains 3 carbon. This process, this conversion of glucose into pyruvate is called glycolysis. In this process, in this glycolysis, certain amount of energy is released. After formation of pyruvate, if oxygen is there, if oxygen is present, aerobic respiration takes place. Presence of, if there is oxygen, aerobic respiration takes place. This aerobic respiration, if oxygen is there, remaining respiration, it happen in the mitochondria. After completion of respiration, carbon dioxide, water and energy is released. This aerobic respiration, it happen in plants and animals. High amount of energy is released in this process. And whereas if there is no oxygen, if oxygen is absent, then anaerobic respiration takes place. Anaerobic means without oxygen. Here this anaerobic respiration takes place in bacteria and also in the yeast. Besides these two, anaerobic respiration takes place in our body also, like in our muscles. Our muscles sometimes they perform anaerobic respiration. In bacteria, this lactic acid and energy, these are the end products, whereas in yeast it is one type of fungus. Here end products are ethanol, carbon dioxide and energy. Like this, there are two types of respirations, aerobic and anaerobic. Now we see the differences between the aerobic and anaerobic respiration. First we discuss about the aerobic respiration. It takes place in presence of oxygen. In anaerobic respiration, complete oxidation of glucose takes place. That means glucose oxidizes completely. And end products of carbon dioxide and water, here lot of energy is liberated, that is 38 ATP are liberated, and it occurs in plants and animal cells. This is the equation of aerobic respiration. And anaerobic respiration, it takes place in the absence of oxygen. That means no oxygen is required. In anaerobic respiration, the glucose molecule is incompletely oxidized. Here incomplete oxidation of glucose. Here end products are ethyl alcohol or lactic acid and carbon dioxide. Here small amount of energy is liberated, only 2 ATP. It occurs in anaerobic bacteria and human muscle cells and also in the yeast. This is the equation of anaerobic respiration. And in respiration, I am saying that energy is releasing 38 ATP and 2 ATP, etc., etc. Here ATP means adenosine triphosphate. This is the energy produced in our body. This energy, it is produced in the mitochondria. ATP means adenosine triphosphate. This is also called energy currency of the cell. From 1 ATP molecule, 7200 calories of energy is released. 7,200 calories of energy is released. This is the structure of ATP: adenine, ribose, and 3 phosphates. Here energy is present between the second phosphate and third phosphate. If this bond is breakdown, then energy is released. This is called energy currency of cell. And I already told, in our muscle cells anaerobic respiration takes place sometimes. Anaerobic respiration takes place in muscle cells when we perform vigorous exercise or strenuous exercise. Here is an athlete. He is participating in running. Then when he participates in running, his muscles need more and more oxygen, but he cannot supply that much of oxygen. Then in his muscle cells anaerobic respiration takes place. It results in the formation of lactic acid. We already know that in anaerobic respiration the end product is lactic acid and carbon dioxide. So whenever anaerobic respiration takes place in muscles, lactic acid is accumulated. This is the graphical representation of anaerobic respiration. When anaerobic respiration takes place in our muscles, that means when we perform strenuous exercise, here we have x-axis and y-axis. In x-axis we have taken time, and in the y-axis we have taken concentration of lactic acid. Here as the running race or exercise is going on, the concentration of lactic acid, it reaches the peak, and next it comes down, and finally slowly as the time progresses, the concentration of lactic acid gradually it becomes decreased. When the lactic acid gets accumulated in our body, we feel fatigue. Fatigue means we feel exhausted. So lactic acid, high concentration of lactic acid causes fatigue. This is also important. And here we have an experiment. The aim of this experiment is to prove anaerobic respiration in yeast. Yeast is one type of fungus. For this experiment we have taken yeast, and anaerobic respiration in yeast, it is also called fermentation. So the aim of this experiment is to prove anaerobic respiration in fungus, or to prove fermentation in yeast. Here the apparatus required are flask and thermometer, corks and glass tubes and lime water, like this. And the procedure is, first we take sugar solution. This is sugar solution. After that, after taking sugar solution, we heat the sugar solution. Why we are heating is to eliminate or to remove oxygen present in the sugar solution. After that, we add yeast to the sugar solution. After adding yeast, in order to check the presence of oxygen, we add Dyson green bee or Jonas green bee. If there is no oxygen, then that Dyson green bee turns into pink color. After cross checking the absence of oxygen, we pour liquid paraffin. Here we are pouring liquid paraffin to stop the entry of oxygen. Next we fit the cork and we put the thermometer and we fit all the glass tubes like this. After some time, a gas is produced here, and that gas reaches the lime water. After some time, that lime water, they turns into milky white. It indicates the presence of carbon dioxide gas. And here, after opening all this, if we smell this one, it smells like alcohol. So it indicates, it proves that anaerobic respiration happened in the sugar solution, and alcohol is formed and carbon dioxide is also formed. This is the experiment. This is also important. And here is another experiment. This is a simple experiment. Here we are heating the glucose. Here we take a test tube and we put some amount of glucose and we close the test tube with cork, and we put small glass tube, and other side of glass tube we pour lime water, and we heat the glucose solution. When we heat the glucose, first it gets melted, and then it turns to black color, and a gas is released. That gas, it turns lime water into milky white. Here it's called, this process is called, heating of glucose is called combustion. During combustion, energy is releasing in the form of heat, and a gas is released, that is called carbon dioxide. This combustion process, it resembles respiration. Now we see the differences between combustion and respiration. Combustion, here in the combustion, the energy is released at once. We have seen the experiment. When we heat the glucose, first it gets melted, and heat is released, and here sugar melts, chars, and later burns to produce flame, and no intermediates are formed. Here no intermediates. Here it occurs in the absence of water. No water during combustion process, and external heat is absorbed. Here, in order to combust glucose, we have to provide heat. Here for combustion, no enzymes are required, but for respiration, here in the respiration, energy is released in sectoral stages, not at one stage. It releases at different stages. No charring occurs during oxidation of sugar. That means no conversion of glucose into no burning, no chars, no melting, etc. Here several intermediates are formed. During the oxidation of glucose, several intermediates are formed. Glucose is converting into carbon dioxide and water, but during that process, number of intermediates are formed. It occurs in the presence of water. In our body, water is present. This respiration, it happens in the presence of water. Here certain amount of release energy is stored in body and is utilized by the body. Here enzymes are required. These are the differences between the combustion and respiration. It is asked as 2 marks question. Here these are the different respiratory organs or evolution of respiration. First, in the fish, gills are present for respiration. That type of respiration is called branchial respiration. And in some insects, trachea are present. Trachea means pipe-like structures. That type of respiration is called tracheal respiration. And in some animals, for example in frogs, in annelids, that means like earthworms, skin acts as a respiratory organ. That type of respiration is called cutaneous respiration. And in the remaining animals like birds and in the mammals, all of us have lungs. The respiration through lungs, it is called pulmonary respiration. Gills, skin, trachea and lungs. In fishes, gills. In frogs, skin. In insects like cockroach, etc., trachea. In human beings and mammals and birds, lungs. This is fermentation. Fermentation means nothing but anaerobic respiration that occur in the yeast. Here it is yeast. The anaerobic respiration that occur in yeast is called fermentation. At the end of fermentation, alcohol and carbon dioxide is released. It occurs in the absence of oxygen. It is represented as minus. That means in the absence of oxygen. Now we discuss about the respiration in plants. We have human beings, all of us, we have nostrils, nasal cavities, etc. But in plants does not have nostrils. They have stomata in the leaves. Stomata means small pores. Through this stomata, gaseous exchange takes place. That means plants take oxygen and they give out carbon dioxide. And besides stomata, they also have small hole-like structures on the stem. They are called lenticels. They are present like this. Here also gaseous exchange takes place. And in some plants like this one, these are called mangroves. In the plants like mangroves, all these are the roots. these roots are called aerial roots. Aerial roots are present, and here we have a small experiment. The aim of this experiment is to prove carbon dioxide is released during respiration. Here we take a jar, and into the jar we take sprouted seeds, and into the jar we take a beaker containing lime water, and we close the beaker with a cork. When we, after some time, if we observe the lime water, it turns into milky white. This is due to the production of carbon dioxide from the sprouted seeds. This carbon dioxide is produced during the process of respiration. That carbon dioxide changes the lime water into milky white. Here we have another experiment. This experiment demonstrates heat is liberated during the process of respiration. Same, here we need this jar like structure. This is called thermos flask, and cork, and thermometer, etc., and sprouted seeds. If we observe after some time, the temperature in the thermometer, it goes up. This is due to the respiration. That means heat is released during the respiration process. And in the last, we have differences between photosynthesis and respiration. The main differences between photosynthesis and respiration are: photosynthesis is anabolic process. Anabolic means synthesis. Respiration is catabolic process. Catabolic means breakdown. Photosynthesis occur in plants with green pigments. Respiration occur in all plants and all animals. Here for photosynthesis, light is essential. For respiration, light is not essential. Here in photosynthesis, chloroplast is necessary. Here during respiration, mitochondria is necessary. Here glucose is the end product. In the respiration, glucose is the starting product. During the photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and water, they are starting products, and here oxygen is given out. And during respiration, oxygen is taken in, and carbon dioxide and water are the end products. In photosynthesis, energy is trapped. Here in respiration, energy is released. Photosynthesis occurs mainly during daytime. Respiration continues during day and night. Here in photosynthesis, light energy is converted into potential energy. Here in respiration, potential energy is converted into kinetic energy. Photosynthesis takes place in presence of chlorophyll. Here respiration, nothing is required. Here in photosynthesis, the weight of the plant increases due to the synthesis of food. Here during the respiration, the weight of the organism decreases due to the breakdown of food material. These are the main differences between the photosynthesis and respiration. All these are the key points related to this lesson, respiration lesson. And